Dozens of top business executives and prominent academics were present at the official opening of the new School of Economics building on UCT's Middle Campus on 9 November. The building has been in operation since early this year. Dean of Commerce, Professor Don Ross, welcomed guests, saying that the new building would allow the school to be reunited with its many research units, which before had been scattered around the university campuses.
It's a quite special event to be opening a new building, especially a new building as modern and as fit for purpose as this one. It represents an important moment, very important moment in the milestone in the life of the School of Economics. There aren't very many departments at UCT that have a building named for them and which they pretty much 100% occupy. The creation of this building has allowed the department, the school, to be reunited with its research units, which were formerly scattered all over campus. And that reunification reminds us of something quite important, which is the great weight of research in this school. Right? From the point of view of those of you who are alumni and who were students, what you see of the School of Economics is a kind of tip of the iceberg. You see the part of the department that is directly engaged with, say, undergraduate teaching. But behind that is a whole engine room full of people who are generating the new knowledge that is making its way into the classroom.
He also encouraged further donations, saying that running a world-class university was expensive but necessary.
None of this premier nature of UCT, this world-class nature of UCT, none of this comes for free. Of course, our costs are significantly higher than the costs of universities that are much, much, much farther down the international rankings. Where is the money? Where might the money come to pay for that premier quality? Ultimately, it comes from philanthropists. It comes from individuals and businesses and foundations who think that it's important that South Africa should have, important for South Africa in general, all South Africans, that the country should have at least one truly world-class university, and who know that if they don't donate, we would not. And you'll see some of the specific such philanthropists who have given their money specifically to the Commerce faculty. You'll see some of them honored when we unveil the donor wall later this evening.
After cocktails, the networking guests were invited to hear the keynote address by Neville Isdell, UCT alumnus and former CEO of Coca-Cola. Collaboration is key to sustainable growth, he said, which pulls power bases from business, civil society and government to deliberate on solutions to problems facing economies.
And that's connected capitalism. That's bringing together the power of business, the power of civil society, the whole value-based system, and eventually governments, because governments have to be the player. But the NGOs would agree. It's going to be business and NGOs that are going to move it forward. I was in DC, Center for Strategic International Studies, talking about this last week, and I didn't get any pushback. There were government people in the room, and they said, "Yep, we're having great difficulty moving our government forward." Obviously, you do have a government that denies global warming, but anyway, we won't go there. So, as I think forward, I talked about a 21st century company. You're going to see companies that thrive because their consumers look at their values. Their consumers look at their brands, and then they purchase their brands, and they move away from companies that actually do not have that value system. It's not in place now, but it's growing, and it's going to be, in 15 to 20 years, we're going to say that it started probably 10, 15 years ago. Companies are going to really understand profoundly the reasons for being. They're going to be values driven. And they're going to care about people. And let me just reflect on the water piece. I know from internal data, even when I was at Coke, and also anecdotal stuff, emails I would get from employees, people I would interview, how they now felt so much better about working for the company. They felt proud of where the company was. And then I would meet new employees who said, you know, 5 years ago, there's no way I would have come to work for Coca-Cola. But today, I'm really enthused about what you're doing in this broader context. So, you know, one of the terrible things is that we're unable to quantify, this is the social scientists coming out again, but we're unable to quantify properly the power and the value of committed people. People who come in the mornings and are really, really proud to be where they are and go home at night and they've enjoyed what they've done. There's no financial metric around that, but it's an extremely powerful metric. And as you see that building and you talk about, you know, looking at the impacts, thinking about legacy and long-term viability, the ability to communicate that at multiple levels and therefore have an influence on society. You're going to see more and more businesses thriving because they really do care about the world in which we live. And hopefully you'll see leadership, genuine leadership, come out of that. But it needs to be leadership which is humble, which is not arrogant, which is responsible and responsive, but also the word that I think is the most important, collaborative. The ability to work in a broad-based collaborative way. And I think only by doing that, A, will you have a great company, but B, do we have any chance of addressing some of the major issues that face us, particularly in the area of sustainability, but not only in the rest of this century. That's what I call connected capitalism. Thank you.
Isdell said he hoped the new home for the economic school would give rise to a generation of economic leaders who have the power to be collaborative. Guests at the event also witnessed the unveiling of the Silver Tree Donor Recognition Wall that bears the names of all major benefactors to the school in 2011.